Hi, everyone. My guest for this episode is New York City-based creative and model Dante Almonacy. He's worked with brands like Sprayground, Overlook, Essence, and Complex, to name a few. You can find him on his IG at Kingdom Covered. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Staying positive. And
Right,
definitely a difficult time we're living in right now. But it's good to be in good spirits. Create, and just stay active, stay busy.
right, 100%. So just like overall, can you explain to us what you do?
As of right now, mainly known for modeling,
Mhm.
uh, styling, and creative directing. So yeah, so I'm a freelance model as well. I'm not with an agency or anything like that.
Okay.
But been doing a lot of that, and networking, and we were going to events and stuff like that. Just creative stuff, like things for fun. Like I play sports, like that. I play basketball. I do MMA. So I just like to have fun.
Would say you consider yourself, or people will call you, a streetwear model because that's mainly what you focus on. I see that you do a lot of streetwear. Like, I feel like it's a little different than, like, would you say like other types of like commercial modeling? How would you say it's different than like other types if you've been in other types of modeling?
It's definitely different. It's kind of similar and it's kind of different now because like I've done both. So like I've done the commercial stuff and I've done the streetwear stuff, but I'm more into, like the streetwear.
Mhm.
So like to pretty much say the difference between the two is, um, I guess with the streetwear modeling you can like really be yourself and not there's like no limitations. You just like a lot of it is like unorthodox work.
Right.
As like versus like the more commercial model, like you're not really coming out of your element. You're pretty much just representing that brand. So whatever type of brand that is, you just that's just you.
Right.
Streetwear is personal, like when you're doing freelance and stuff like that, it's way more personal.
Right. I feel like streetwear models are also kind of like stylists because you guys have to like put everything together, and like you guys find out about all these brands on your own. So I guess there is a lot more styling involved than rather just commercial modeling where you just sort of put on what they tell you to and you kind of just.
Well, like the industry is it's already shifting. So like now all these big high end brands, they're doing a lot of the streetwear stuff now, because they're
Right.
seeing that this is a new thing.
Right.
So they're trying to shift as well. So it's
Right.
definitely becoming way bigger. Definitely.
How did you get into streetwear?
I've been into it like my whole life, but the only difference was I never really had my own style. So when I was younger, I just was like caught up in like, following trends and wearing what my friends are wearing or
Right.
wearing what a rapper I listen to wears or something like that. So it had a lot to do with like my inner circle influence, and my mom was like another big influence.
Oh,
Like my mom doesn't do fashion, but she's always been like fashion, like very fashionable.
right.
So she would always like encourage me to like just do my own thing and like stop following everybody else. But back when I was younger, like I wasn't trying to hit none of that.
Right. Yeah.
Like you just want to wear what your friends are wearing at the time, and like or wear well, whoever you think is cool is wearing something, and you want to just wear that.
Right.
So I was caught up in that like very early on, and then as I got older, I just started like just doing my own thing. So
Mhm.
that, that's really what it was. I'm from here. I didn't grow up in the city though. I moved around a lot. Like I
Oh,
actually
okay.
island, and my immediate family is from the city. I also have like a lot of part of my family's from like different countries as well.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
my dad from Haiti,
Right.
and my mom's side Jamaican, Ethiopian, and also like some natives here too. So family from all over. And I grew up in a bunch of different places. So that also impacted my fashion as well.
Right.
Just like it's just like a part of who I am. Regardless of where I'm in the world, it's just that's just where I'm rooted and
Right.
where I'm like yeah. And I also moved to PA. I spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you
I
moved back here for.
came 2017.
Oh, right. So, and then like as soon as you came back, you started working. Did you come back to like work in like the fashion
Yeah,
industry? That's what you came back for.
for that. Otherwise, I would have probably went somewhere else. Honestly,
Right.
area I was living in, it was like pretty slow. So like it's like after you finish school, it's like you gotta kind of either start your own business there or just go somewhere else because there was
Right. Yeah. So like you mentioned before that you do like creative directing and styling. It's like, but why did you want to like start off with modeling first?
um what it was. I pretty much got a hobby of like just taking photos, and I was like at this point I was like my outfits were like just out there.
Right.
So And it's kind of funny how I just got into the modeling because I used to hate taking pictures like growing up. Like I wasn't really photogenic. Like I didn't know how to look and in
Or like where
photo.
to pose, where to look, yeah.
So it just became a hobby and I started having fun with it and just doing it just to do it. Then I started picking up recognition and people were like, yo, like, then it's like started putting batteries on my back to like actually take it serious, because like it's something I was doing for fun, but like in the same breath, it's like if you love it that much and people are already doing the same thing on a higher scale, it's like why not even try to just dabble with it, take it serious.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. If you started off like doing it with an intention of it becoming professionally, if it started just as like your social media, like you taking pictures for social media, but like I guess you said it started off like just I'm gonna take a picture for social media and like you saw that it was like gaining attention and then you're like, oh, I can take this down the professional route. So let's see what I can get out of this. Because I feel like a lot of people start with an agency, but I see that you just started, just with social media and like your own style. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely, and thank you.
Yeah. Do you think social media is like the most important part of your portfolio?
Days, yes. It depends on what you're doing. Like for modeling, it's like 50-50. So if you're a model, you definitely need to have like a portfolio aside from Instagram,
Just
like professional shots and headshots and stuff like that. So a lot of these things can also be on your Instagram, but it's like you definitely need to have like another thing on the side, like a folder, something to show agencies or whatever, like this is all my work. But now with social media, like you said, it's pretty much that.
Mhm.
There's a lot of other things involved with social media too. So it's like, some people just don't want to bother with it and they just want to see like, okay, well, where can I look at your work that's outside of Instagram?
Right. Like some
So
people still want to like that physical portfolio or at least like a website where they can see everything out and not just have to scroll through like your post, right?
exactly.
Yeah. So like how did you come into contact with some of the brands you worked with?
Um, a lot of them I just met like spontaneously, like at an event or just on the street. Like Overlook, for example, like his name is the owner of that brand is Ali.
Okay.
So I met Ali in Soho, and like that's pretty much how I started off too. Like I was just going to Soho, like I didn't know anyone at this time, even though like I'm from here. I had zero connections to the industry,
Right.
so I was going to Soho and meeting people there. And Ali was one of the people I met from Overlook, and his brand was so dope. So he reached out to me and was like, "Yo, bro, like." He pretty much liked my aesthetic. I liked his aesthetic, so we just been working ever since.
Would you recommend like people that want to get into this field, would you recommend they go to these events and sort of like put themselves out there? Do you think that's the best way to get started?
For sure. Like, don't get me wrong. It's good to create. As far like I feel like before you do that, you should definitely have some stuff to show.
Right.
So as long as you have some type of body of work that you can show people, then by any means, definitely like networking is key, 100%. Like you need definitely got to put yourself out there and meet people, and for
Right.
sure.
Yeah. I guess you can't just show up to these like events like, oh, can I work with you? And then we're like, okay, show me what you've done. And then you're like, I ain't got nothing to show you. Right.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah, like how did you get invited to all of these events? Like are some of these events just things that you could just, show up to, or do you know people to like get in?
Well, it was a mixture of both. So some of these events they post them publicly, or they'll be like they'll have like flyers go around. So
Yeah.
it's very easy, especially like in the city in Soho and like areas where like pretty a lot of people are pretty much doing the same thing.
Mhm.
The word goes around pretty quick. So
Right.
that's find out subscriptions on online. They post about them there. You get like you'll just like it became a time where I was just like getting random events in my email
Right.
just, just from subscriptions. So that was a way too.
Yeah, like I've seen a lot of them on Eventbrite. Like I've been to a couple of like the ones that are like free and you could or like they're like $10, especially for like smaller brands. You could just sort of show up to them. So I feel like those events are pretty cool because you meet other people who are maybe starting out too and you could like work with them and it's easier to like be able to interact with them than other people. So I see what you mean. So I see that you walked New York Fashion Week for Sprayground, right? I saw on your Instagram. How was that experience, like being able to walk New York Fashion Week?
That was definitely something I'll never forget. That was lit. So how that came about was they had a casting So I went to the casting, and then they liked my look, and then I got casted for the show,
Right.
and then it was dope. Rich the Kid also walked with us.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah.
It was in it. Asian Doll was in the show as well. It
Mhm.
was it was dope. It was definitely dope.
Yeah, like for like these bigger brands, like how do castings look?
Well, at the time, like they take a few people at a time. I
Right.
don't know how many people went there that day, because so pretty much how a lot of these castings work, they have like a window. So
Right.
they're like 10 to like 3, just for an example. And some of these castings have like a cap. So like they may have a window, but they might also have like a certain number of people that they're trying to see. So if
Right.
they already exceeded that limit, then some castings can just close like
Right.
before that. So if you're going to a casting, you should definitely get there as early as you can. Like don't wait till last minute to go there, because unfortunately, you might go there and then it might say there's an hour left, but you never know. Like I said, if they've already seen a certain amount of people already, then you're just gonna be.
Right. If they already got the people they needed, they're just gonna finish early. They're yeah. So I also saw this one really caught my attention. I saw you appeared in like a Thalia and Mau and Ricky music video. How did you get cast for that?
Um, Casting director, her name is Monica.
Okay.
She reached out to me on Instagram, and she liked my look, and so she pretty much like told me about the video, and then presented me to the rest of the people,
Mhm.
and then they agreed as well. So that's how I got that. That was the.
Yeah, I saw that because like Thalia and like them two, and their father, Mama Ricky's father, like they're very big like in the like Latino music world, I guess. And like as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, like I know who these people are. So I thought it was interesting. Like, how did you get cast for that? And like, how did you come across this like gig? I guess. So I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, that was from Monica. Shout outs to Monica, by the way. She's dope. Really, really dope casting director. So yeah, that's another thing too. These casting directors are on Instagram as well. So you never know. You never know.
Right.
You really.
Yeah. Like that. Is that how you came across Monica
Yes.
through Instagram? Okay. So like, would you recommend models who are like just starting out to get a casting, like to look for casting directors? Do you think that's one of the best ways they can get?
Yeah, definitely. It would like that's definitely I like, especially if you don't have an agency, that's gonna be a way to get work. So depending on the type of modeling you're trying to do,
Mhm.
you should definitely have like try to find as many casting directors as you can.
Right.
If not, what I'm saying, like if you can just get with an agency, and then they're pretty much doing all that stuff. But if you're independent, that's gonna be a source of your income.
Right. Yeah.
So
So like you were on like GQ Street Style Spotlight. Like how do people that we often see them like for magazines and they highlight like street style. How do people get into those? Like how do people appear in them?
so pretty much, I guess, like whoever is the one that's doing the scouting,
Right.
if they like your look, then they'll feature you. That's pretty much how it is. So like at these events and stuff like that, there's people that are like scouting to see like what looks they like, and they're gonna pull you to the side, and they're gonna ask to take your photo.
Right.
So my advice to people that are networking and going out to events, always make sure you're looking the part like at all times, because like I
Right.
said, you never know who you're gonna bump into. You never know who's gonna like your style, or so definitely make sure you should treat every day like it's a runway.
Right.
Like every time you step outside, just treat that like it's a runway.
So like what is something you wish you knew before you start pursuing a career in fashion?
Um, I wish I knew that you're not supposed to give agencies money up
Right.
front. I got scammed in the beginning. Like when I didn't know anything about modeling,
Mhm.
and the people that I was directed to, because like my family, like I talked about it with my family, and my dad knew some people, but the people that he like referred me to, they didn't really help me that much. Like they didn't really give me the information that I needed. It was like very vague.
Mhm.
So I just like out, like I had to figure it out somehow.
Right.
So stuff I was Googling, I just stumbled across certain things. And the first agency I came across, I forgot the name of them, but they were like a scam. So
Right.
pretty much what they do is they'll have like a little orientation meeting of people that come in with aspirations to be to model or act or whatever. And they'll sell you a dream. They'll tell you, oh, if you give us this amount of money, then you're gonna get booked for Nike and this, that, and the third. But if you don't have a knowledge of how it works, they're gonna get you because you got to think about it like this. No agency can guarantee you work because they're not the ones that's making the decisions.
Right.
It's the casting directors. So if you're not a casting director, you can't guarantee me anything at all. So that's how I got caught.
Right. Yeah, it's also like you said before, like you knew no, like you didn't know anyone in the industry here in the city, and like you were just starting out. So yeah, it's something that people have to look out for. That I didn't know that you shouldn't give them money up front. So I didn't know until you mentioned
Yeah.
that now. Yeah.
I unfortunately I got scammed like that. So
Yeah. I feel like a lot of agencies sort of do sort of things like that because they promise you jobs when they're like, oh, it's for like the comp card and like it's for like a fee to like get you started, like registration fee. But I guess it's like, sometimes a lot of people are promised work, but they can't promise you work. Like as you said, it's not up to them. Yeah. Like the
yeah,
past model we had before, she mentioned that happened to her too. Like she was promised work, and when she moved to the city from Colorado, it was like she's like nothing actually came from it.
yeah, that I there was one time this actually happened to me two times. I'm not gonna lie. This one agency tried to tell me that so it was like one of those agencies like you like make a profile online
Okay.
and then there's like a bunch of work on there.
Mhm.
So some and like I said, there's some platforms like that. They actually work and they actually do have like good work on there. And then you got some that are just like, it's just scams and you
Right.
can get there easily. So one of the people from the agency reached out and they told me that um they liked my look and they wanted me to be in a movie with Al Pacino.
Mhm.
The movie doesn't even exist.
Right.
I didn't find out until after. So like they literally like it was I was on the phone with my dad. Like my dad was on the phone with Three-Way. They lied to both of us on the phone and they were like,
Right.
"Oh, yeah, it was bad." So
Right. Yeah, but I feel like when you're starting out, it's kind of like, and you don't know how things work, it's kind of easy. I feel like that's who they prey on, people who are starting out too, because they know that maybe they don't know and this isn't like actively what they do. So I guess that is like good advice for people who are starting out. Be careful of agencies because some of them might not be, as legitimate as you think they are.
and the sad part is they'll get people that actually did model. So like I'm not like some of them like they may not have modeled on like a high level, but if you look at their pictures, it looks like it's all a part of the gimmick. So like they'll fool you. If you've never heard of them before, the person is twice your age and they have dope pictures. So those are the type of people that they get to scam people. Like they're
Right.
not gonna be Joe Schmo looking
Right.
person. Exactly. So it's all a part of the mind game.
Right, yeah, they do it to sort of make themselves look legitimate so that you sort of
Exactly.
fall into it. Right, exactly. What are 5 tips for someone who wants to get into the industry?
Be yourself. Be confident. Don't be wrong. That's gonna be something. It's gonna be hard to have, like, especially if you don't know what you're doing. But it's gonna sound cliche, but you're gonna need some confidence as well, for sure. So as long as you have the confidence before you even get started, then you'll be better off. Think outside the box. So like there's like I said, like there's so many avenues and so many ways now to do this because like with the shifts of the industry and what people are looking for and what's new and there's so many things that's going on. So my advice would be not for someone not to marginalize themselves and just think one dimensional.
Right.
So that's another thing that they should do. Just keep working, like never give up. Don't compare yourself to other people because like you got people that are like, oh well, this person has been doing it for this amount of time and they're here and I've been doing it for this amount of time and I'm not there. Like don't compare yourself to anybody because at the
Right.
end of the day, everybody's story is different, everybody's journey is different. So like you never know when your time is gonna come.
Right,
So
exactly.
as long as you believe in yourself and you keep working hard, your time's gonna come, like for sure.
Right. Very cool. So just to remind everyone that you can check out Dante's work at Kingdom Covered on Instagram.
Yes.
All right. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me, and I really appreciate this.